and welcome viewers. Ransomware attacks on Indian banks and financial institutions are increasing. These cyber threats pose significant risks to the financial sectors, affecting operations and customer trust. The rise in such attacks highlights the urgent need for enhanced cybersecurity measures. We have today with us Kaustubh Medhe, Interim CEO and VP at Cyble. Hello, Kaustubh. How are you?
I'm doing great, Shruti. Thanks for having me on the show.
My first question to you is, Kaustubh, what role does cybersecurity play when it comes to banks, NBFCs, where customers' wealth is at stake?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question, and with the kind of technologies that are coming up, banks are being forced to launch new innovative products using a lot of these technologies to make sure that customers are really engaging with their services and customers have a great user experience and convenience, right? So now I always like to give this analogy of a car driving on a high speed highway, right, with speed limits, right? And uh, consider a situation where you have a very nice looking car, right, goes very fast,
Right.
but you don't have a speedometer to know what speed you are going in, right? You don't have seat belts. There are no airbags, right, in the car. There are no brakes probably, and there are no rear view mirrors. But the car is great. It's fast, looks nice, right? How safe would you feel driving such a car on a high speed highway, right? And that's the role typically I see cybersecurity playing in a banking environment where cybersecurity is basically an enabler. It allows you to take risks, but at the same time protects you from any high risk situations or incidents. And
Right.
even when an incident happens, it ensures that you are able to come out of it relatively unscathed. So that's the role typically what cybersecurity plays in a banking environment.
Right, right. Very interesting perspective. Kaustubh, my next question is, see, we all have bank accounts, and in India especially, we use UPI and credit cards all the time. But sometimes banks are accused of not doing enough alerts, not sending enough alerts to customers about ongoing scams, where these scammers call and say that these are from some banks, and then they scam people. So how can we create more awareness for people across India about cyber threats? How can banks ensure that their security is up to the mark?
I guess I won't fault banks honestly for not informing customers. It's simply a case where cyber threats are evolving at such a fast pace that sometimes banks themselves are not aware of these threats.
Right.
And there is this whole proliferation of WhatsApp and these closed messenger platforms. A lot of these apps tout privacy as a feature, to protect information and identities of people, and that's actually exploited by cyber criminals because they are anonymous, and these apps help them to stay anonymous. They can create fake profiles and send very convincing messages to these unsuspecting users, and many of the victims do fall prey to these some of these techniques. And especially with the evolution of AI, for example,
Right.
fraudsters are increasingly using these technologies to make very convincing audio deepfakes, video deepfakes, and trying to scam people.
Right.
Um, Now, the only way in which banks can manage this problem is by one, having the right threat intelligence and awareness of what types of scams are happening, and then accordingly, um, tailor their messages, security awareness programs for end customers to make sure that the customers are made aware of these evolving scams, right? And they can protect themselves. So I
Right.
think the starting point is having a right threat intelligence capability in the cybersecurity team, which
Right.
can then be used to do the right security messaging through the marketing teams.
Right. Right. I understand. Like that's the big picture. Let's talk about Cyber now, Kaustubh. I've gone through the website, looks very interesting. What are the core values of the company, and what are your goals for the next, say, 3, 4 years, midterm, near term to midterm goals? What are the different challenges that you probably as a CTO have been facing, or and how do you deal with that? Because what I feel as a media person is that adaptability and awareness amongst even corporates are questionable sometimes about cyber threats, about scams, because we have seen educated people and who are probably aware of the financial system. They fall into these scams. They become the next victim. So let's talk a little bit more about what are the things that your company does, and what are the challenges that you face?
Right. So, like lots of things to talk about. So, I mean, let me begin by telling you about Cyble. So, we are actually a very, very young startup. We were formed during the pre-COVID era, and in that sense, we were remote, a cloud native,
Oh,
SaaS based company. And the focus of the company has been always on providing visibility and awareness of cyber threats and risks which impact enterprises and individuals, right? So that's the broad focus of the company. And we have a slew of our products aimed at helping our customers gain an understanding of what are the technical threats, new emerging threats and attacks which are happening all around, which of these threats are likely to impact them, and then what they need to do to prevent an incident from happening. So in a sense, we are a partner to any organization who wants to stay one step ahead of these threats and protect themselves from a breach, right? So that's the high level goal of Cyber. If you talk about values, honestly, we are in such a high paced environment that for us, innovation and agility are primary. So that's a core value of Cyber. If you notice, we've actually launched a number of products and capabilities in the platform in a very short span of time, and that's primarily because the threat landscape is changing so fast that our products need to continuously evolve to make sure that we are in line with what the customers need to protect themselves. So that's one. The second thing I would say is we are very, very customer centric, which means that our product evolves based on customer needs. And in a sense, we collaborate very closely with customers. We learn a lot from our customers, the feedback that we receive from customers. And through our agility based focus, we basically make sure that those gaps or those requirements are quickly brought into our platform to make it relevant and stay relevant for the customer, right? So in essence, these are the core values of the company that we work with. Um, and now coming to challenges that we face as an organization, I would say many organizations today lack situational awareness of their organization's assets. What are the critical assets that they have in terms of where is their data lying in, how is it secured and protected. There is a lot of gap when it comes to an understanding of risks. When it comes to cybersecurity. Especially this problem is more visible in small and medium enterprises because they tend to have a problem with allocating enough resources or allocating the right level of skill to address some of these issues. So yeah, this is a problem that we see largely in the small and medium enterprises, and it's only through awareness at the top that that security culture and understanding of security only will be able to solve this problem for them.
All right.
um,
Um, One last question. What advice do you have for our, say, Gen Z and Gen Alpha viewers who are almost always connected to the internet, and maybe they're more prone, more vulnerable to these attacks?
yeah, I think coming from my generation, I think there is a generational shift. As a father of a 13-year-old, I can really perceive that difference. I would say this generation is a lot more tech savvy. I mean, technology comes naturally to them. They are actually born in the era of virtual reality, augmented reality, these kinds of technologies, AI. They see a lot of these assistants, voice-based assistants, etc., being used. Also, I see that there is a shortened attention span of this generation. So the kind of marketing and messaging of awareness that is relevant for our generation may not necessarily appeal to that generation. So in a sense, I think companies, if they want to target this generation, they need to change the way they market to this generation in terms of finding out what type of influencers they follow, what type of shows they follow, maybe associate music and sports activities or events to promote their security awareness messaging to
Hmm.
this generation, right? And I think cybersecurity is more about having the right set of habits. So every time you have a habit, then naturally, it's like exercising every day or following the right diet. So if people start following these cybersecurity principles in daily life, I think that's something which will really help bring up a generation with more cybersecurity resilience. And I would just advise this generation to just stay skeptical of anything that you receive on your phone or device. You know,
Right.
um, don't trust unknown senders and messages blindly. Even if they appear to come from a legitimate source, anyone can clone a photograph of a friend and send you some messages. Um, don't overshare information on social media, even if it is with your close ones, right? Don't share sensitive data like passwords on your details, because you never know which device or machine would get compromised and then your data would land up in the wrong hands. um, I would say force your parents to buy and install a good antivirus or a web security solution on your
Right.
device, because that's the first step to protecting it. um, don't install nice looking games, stickers, that kind of a content on your phones unless it's from a well known or a reputed source. So I mean, these are some of the basic cybersecurity hygiene principles that the generation needs to follow to stay safe online.
Perfect. Absolutely. Absolutely, Kaustubh. Couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, that was Kaustubh from Cyble. Thank you for watching us. Have a good day.